Hello, everyone. It's been a while since we've had a decent conversation, and it's been a while since I've done a rant video, but I think today we're going to have a special topic. We're going to talk about McDonald's. Now, Mickey D's has been my home for about 3 years now, and I can't get enough of it. Yeah, that's kind of an understatement, but we're going to talk about them today. I have a lot of general stories and stuff to mention, and just overall stupidity, but if you've ever worked at a McDonald's, you know how the fast food business goes. You cook some food, you hand it to a customer service, etc. All that fun stuff. But what you don't know are the secrets that are inside. Now, it's a little disturbing and a little frustrating, some of it. You never know what's going to happen. Each one's like a wild card. You pick out a card and what's that? It's something else. So, I'm going to start from the beginning and we'll get to a few topics in general at a later time. So, we're going to start off with my first day at McDonald's. I started working at Mickey D's in December 31st, 2015. That's right, New Year's Eve. That was my first day of work. And we had a lot of cool people there. There was, we had some coworkers, a lot of them which I became fast friends with, and we had a lot of nice Spanish ladies that taught me some Spanish words and stuff. It was cool. I'm gonna use different names though, because I'm actually, for story-wise elements, I'm gonna use different names here. So, the GM, we're just gonna call her Sarah. Sarah was a nice lady. She was great, she was athletic, and she cared about her kids quite a bit. Sarah was the GM there for quite a bit, till about June of 2016, I believe. June 2016. Yeah, we had she had quit to become a mom to her newborn son. Now, that was when it started getting all depressing and boring. We had a bunch of people coming in there, and the customers are the biggest problem, really. Now, there's a few really sweet ones and nice ones, but other ones, you just want to hit them, and you just want to say something to them, but you can't because they're the customer, and they're always right. So, we're going to get started with stupid customers. The ones that order breakfast during lunch. Yes, you heard me right. Now, for example, why the hell... Some of them ask me if they can order breakfast, then proceed to order lunch. I mean, you can't tell me that they don't know that lunch starts at 10:30 or 11 in some places. That's just ridiculous. And I've even had some people past lunch ask if we're serving breakfast still, then order lunch and not order breakfast at all. So what was the point of asking me if we were serving breakfast? I can't even process what your mind was thinking at this time. Why would you ask me if we're serving breakfast, then go ahead and order 2 double cheeseburgers? I mean, it's not really a problem. I just want to know what the point of the question was. Were you going to tell a friend of yours, or were you going to mail it to the nearest post office and let them know too? Either way, I also get asked stupid questions about the food. We also get asked things like, what's in your iced coffee? And is the frappe coffee flavored or coffee? And I go, it's coffee, ma'am. It's always been coffee. That's what a frappe is. I mean, you could go to Starbucks or something and it'd be like, can I get a double half cut decaf macchiato, whatever the hell? And it's just, I don't understand people. I don't. It's general food. I mean, the thought of fast food, you're a little curious once in a while. You get those random foods, you get those other things, and you always want to know what's in it. Well, we do have some stuff in the food. For example, the fries get a special meat salt on them or something. But vegetarians still order the fries, even though they don't really understand that there's meat on the fries, pretty much. But that's not even the worst part. Apparently, we have bones in our food. That's right. I had a customer come up to the counter the other day and complain about there being a bone in his food. What food of McDonald's has a bone in it? I mean, I know there was that one thing where there was a chicken head found in the nuggets, but I don't think there's any bones in our food. I've been working here for a while, and I've never seen that. I've never seen that, ever. I think it's just a ploy to get free food. A lot of the times, the customers love to get free food off of you, and they'll do whatever they can to do that. Most of the time, it's mostly through complaining. They'll go up there to the counter and complain about something that isn't really worth complaining about, like waiting 2 minutes on an ice cream cone. Well, maybe that's fair, but if it's like a big order, some of them like to complain in the first 3 minutes that their order is taking too long. When they order like 10 sandwiches of everything of the menu, I can't process that. How fast do you think we are? Most of us are there from like 6 in the morning till late in the night, like me. Or you could get one of those coworkers, or maybe we're short-staffed. But for crying out loud, just wait for your food. It's a fast food restaurant, yes, but we're also human beings, and we can only move at such a fast pace, if you know what I mean. I've had problems with this a lot of times, and most of the times, the biggest complaint I get is them complaining about the prices. The prices are supposed to be low, I guess, to them. But we're almost in the year 2020. We're in like the start of 2019 right now, and I don't really think anyone understands that McDonald's came out over 100 years ago practically. It's a pretty old place. And they used to make sausages, not hamburgers. That was like their big thing there. But half the time, I guess the customers feel like the food should be, I don't know, priced like it was then. Like it was like 25 cents for a hamburger back then. But when they order a hamburger and they find out it's 95 cents, they complain about it. I get this all the time. They order a big amount of food and then want to know why the order is like so expensive. Like, oh my god. You ordered like 5 meals and it's the most expensive meal. Do you not understand that perhaps maybe your complaining is a little weird, perhaps? It's not unordinary for the prices to be a little high, but do remember that minimum wage is going up in some places, so things are going to go up in price. I had one lady come through the drive-thru the other day and order a sausage egg McMuffin. Now, it's on the $1, $2, $3 menu, right? So then she goes ahead and orders an egg McMuffin too, but then wants to know why her order is $9. Well, first of all, the egg McMuffin is like almost $5. Then you have the sausage egg muffin, which is $3. So that's about $8 right there. Then you got tax. You know, for every dollar, it's like a certain cent upwards. Yeah. So, and then they get so angry that they go, ugh, and drive out of the drive-thru. Okay. What was even the point of that? I had a friend tell me at work, just yesterday actually, that somebody was ordering food, and after they placed the order and heard the price, they said, oh, fuck this, and they drove away. What? Okay, sir, listen, I understand you're a little frustrated, but the price isn't our fault. Sometimes the customers get really mad at us over the prices. We're not in control of the prices. That's management, okay? I can't force you to pay $9. Even then, some of the managers probably don't even know how to do that either. It's probably the regional areas, you know? The regional managers. Yeah, the regional managers are usually the ones that have these informations. This happens so often, it's not even funny. For example, people, it's like even worse because it's the customers that order the most amount of food that complain about this. I don't understand if it's like a stupid gene, but when you order per se 10 Big Macs and the price is like $35, do you not understand that that's a lot of food you just ordered, and that's probably the reason the price is so expensive? I get this constantly, and it's like, it's not even our fault. Now, here's another problem that the customers have. The receipt paper. Some of the ones that order the lots and lots of food, they generally want their receipt, right? Well, sometimes you get those customers who give you like this ridiculous stare because you tried to give them their receipt. Most customers don't want the receipt paper. They make you throw it away, kill all the trees in the area, and that's fine. I don't approve of them killing trees. I have literally, if you're working the back window, it's called back cash, by the way. If you're working back cash, where you take the money and give them their receipt, there generally is going to be a trash can there, because the company is aware that most of the time the customers are just going to have you throw the receipt away anyways. But my number one problem is, when you actually do run out of receipt paper, they all want their receipts and they get mad at you for it. Okay, so you're telling me that you wanted the receipt paper when it's out, but when I do have it, you all of a sudden don't want the receipt. I can't fathom this any other way than, why would you care so much about this? It's ridiculous. The receipt paper is... Take the receipt, for the love of God. The receipts are beneficial. You can get a free sandwich from filling out an online survey with the receipt paper. So there's literally no reason for you to not want the receipt. Hell, maybe even the receipt will help you with those big prices you complain about too. I mean, come on, people. The receipt is a piece of paper, and there's nothing wrong with it. In fact, not taking it probably is going to be worse off for you than taking it. You can get a free sandwich, and if they mess your order up, at the very least, having the receipt paper will help you verify your order was messed up. That way, in the future, when a manager turns you down for, per se, not having the receipt, you won't get angry about that. Anyways, we're going to switch topics now, and we're going to move on to my experience at McDonald's in Florida. When I was in Florida, I went to school for computer hardware and software. Now, I worked at a McDonald's there too. Once again, I worked the 6 a.m. shift, that tiring 6 a.m. shift. But it's not too bad. Well, okay, yeah, it was. We had this manager called Ida. Now, this is her real name because I have nothing to do with these people anymore, so it's alright. Either way, Ida was a big Spanish lady. She was a little skinny, probably didn't really look like she was eating much, and she was a lesbian. Not that I have problems with lesbians, but that was just some key detail I should mention. Now, Ida was infamous for being pretty stupid, like most McDonald's GMs are, but Ida probably was the main source of stupidity. Like, the other managers I've had GM-wise are really smart for them. They run their job pretty well, I think, most of the time. Especially Sarah, who I mentioned earlier. She ran her job really well. Despite being there for only a few months, I loved her. I still have her on Facebook. Regardless of that, Ida was, when me and my best friend decided to go and apply at this McDonald's down the road, we both got interviewed by Ida. She was a Spanish lady who I've mentioned this before, and she was okay. She hired us pretty much on the spot, and we started our work point. But then we started to realize how stupid she actually is. For example, my best friend and I both applied for the grill position at McDonald's. Only my friend got it. I ended up working the front counter, where I told them I had met plenty of grill experience, but they decided, let's put him on front counter since he has lots of experience on grill. I didn't know what I was doing on front counter, so the first couple of days they got mad at me for being clueless, even though I did say during the interview that I do not know what I am doing. So, does somebody want to explain to me how this is my fault? I mean, for real, I just don't understand what the problem here is. If I tell you I know grill, why would you put me on front counter? That's like saying that's like being, I'm a doctor and then making me the town idiot. Okay? That just puts all your skills to waste. It would have been better if they put my best friend on front counter because he didn't know how to do either of them yet. And they could have been a lot more productive. But, you know what? I'm not going to complain about that. Instead, we're going to complain about the other stuff. For example, managers asking me how to do their jobs. I'm a pretty smart person, usually. I went to school, I went to college, sort of, and I am currently in the process of trying to get a job as an editor of some sort, or working on somebody's computers. But what I do not like is the management treating me like I am just a low common worker. I understand it's a McDonald's, and most of the time you get some pretty stupid coworkers, but I am not one of those exceptions, okay? For example, they're always asking me how to do their jobs. Like, the managers ask me how to do this or such and such. I I had a manager at the current McDonald's I'm at. Well, I'm going to say her name was, I don't know, Alex. We'll call her Alex since I can't give out real names for places I'm at still. Alex is a nice lady who quit very recently, actually. But she'd always ask me how to make the coffees, the more complicated looking Starbucks ones, like the non-fat caramel macchiatos. She'd always ask me, how do you make this? And I'd be like, you're the manager, you figure it out. I mean, I don't get it. How did you become a manager if you didn't know how to make the coffees? My instructions on how to be manager were given clear to me, and I was told that I'm supposed to know how to do everything and be a little more commanding. While I know how to do everything, I'm not very commanding. So most of the time, they just don't really know what they're doing. And that's unfair. I know pretty much all the stuff I'm supposed to be doing. Now, I had another problem. I had a lady named MJ who worked in the mornings with me at the other McDonald's. She was the one who trained me how to do front counter. Me and the manager, Alicia, at the time. Now, Alicia was a cool lady. I still message her from here and there. And it's great. Alicia was a fun person. Now, I still message her once in a while, but MJ, I don't really talk to her much because her and some other manager named Boaz, who really reluctantly didn't, want to talk to me, they were usually there in the mornings. Now, for example, MJ wasn't a manager at first, but she did get promoted to manager down the road, out of the expense of my friend Alicia's job by any means. Alicia was the manager at the time, and then she got demoted because Ida didn't like her. Well, that's unfair. Alicia's been working at that store since it opened, and she did her job really well. But the GM didn't like her. It was always favoritism at these places. You were either their favorite employee, or you weren't their favorite employee, like me. My friend Brian and I got lots and lots of hate from this because we didn't like the way they ran things because they were all dumb. Not the ones I'm talking about, but basically the stupid ones, like Ida and MJ. Now, MJ wasn't stupid by any means, but I did find out she was stealing money from the drawers. Ida originally accused my friend Alicia of stealing the monies from the drawer, but it's just why? She's been working there forever, and she even had her house burned down. Why would she be stealing money from the drawers? That's not really a way to live. In fact, I wouldn't be complaining about not having money if I was the one stealing the money. If I stole money from the drawers daily, let's say I took $5 from the drawers on a daily basis. That would be 1 week, and I'd have $35. That's an extra $35 a paycheck. Isn't that right? Now, count that over a month's worth of time, and you have over $100 extra. But imagine if they weren't stealing only $5. Imagine if it was something more than that. You'd be making pretty good bank. So please explain to me why I'd be complaining about money if I was the one stealing the money out of the drawer. That's what both Alicia and I had come to, but nobody else wanted to listen to reason. The general manager, Ida, and big boy Boaz decided, you are the money thief, Alicia. We're gonna demote you. Now, whenever I'd be working back cash at the Florida McDonald's, I'd be in the back window, taking cash, making the customers laugh with my weirdness, etc. But at the end of the day, when they'd count my drawer, they'd be like, Gregory, why are you short $16? And I'd be like, I don't know. How in the world am I supposed to know that? And they'd be asking me all these questions, like, why are you short money? And I'd not really know what to answer, because as far as I know, and my mathematics skills are pretty good. So when I'd get that drawer, it'd usually be maybe $1 short or $1 over, something like that. That's normal, okay? Sometimes you drop a penny on the floor or a dime, or sometimes the customers don't want their change and you're over a bit. So having $1 over or under daily is probably going to be what happens. There's not really a lot of options or instances where I feel that you are going to end up picking, or you were going to end up having lower amounts of money or the exact same number. So odds are you're going to spend most of the time having more or less in your drawer than normal. But that was when I found out recently, when my best friend told me that the reason I kept making losing all that money is because they promoted MJ to manager, and MJ was stealing the money out of the drawers. I think I had mentioned this earlier, but they thought it was Alicia doing it and demoted her. She ended up getting fired eventually when they all turned on her, and I quit because they kept making me do multiple things at once. Now, they were pretty big hypocrites there. McDonald's managers were, but we had the manager Boaz there. He was a huge hypocrite. I'd be standing in back cash doing absolutely nothing, and I'd get yelled at for it. However, him and everybody else, including MJ and her daughter, would be up front, and if it was slow, they'd all be talking and having a great time. I'd come up there and call them out on it, and I'd just get yelled at for it. So, you're telling me I'm not allowed to do nothing, but you guys are? That's not fair. They all ended up becoming managers at some point too. So, it's like they only promote people who are dumb or idiots or don't do nothing. I'd be standing in back cash for 8 hours a day, taking customers' orders on both lane 1 and 2, making bags of ice, Happy Meals, and wiping trays. Now, you have to ask yourself, do you have a problem with this? Yes, I do have a problem with this. Why in the world would you have all these people here if you're only going to have me doing everything? Shouldn't I be getting a raise? Well, raises don't seem to exist at McDonald's because they only pay you very little. I don't understand the problem here, but even after MJ ended up getting caught stealing the money, this was after I had left, so this was a bummer. I would have loved to be here to find this out, okay? Because it's moments like these where I don't have a clue why they even hire these people. It's like you hire these star employees, and they don't end up being the star employees you thought. I'm a pretty trustworthy guy. I mean, I've always been trustworthy. But here we go with the management problem with this. The general managers don't seem to know how to do their jobs either. For example, I have my current GM at McDonald's. We're going to call her Arkansas. Arkansas is a nice lady sometimes, but she has some favoritism problems. She never seems to enjoy my company, but it's like I work really hard and I try to do the best I can. But for God's sakes, man, don't you people understand that perhaps maybe it's not our faults once in a while? The customer may be always right in the general terms, but the customer is not always right. For example, when we're in back cash, okay? We're standing in back cash window. We're taking customer orders and customers' monies. Now, sometimes you get those customers who take forever to pull up to the window, or you get the ones who pull their money out at the window. Well, okay, that's fine, but it's not our fault when that happens. The GMs and the supervisors and all that like to yell at the people in back cash for not going quickly enough. But how is that our fault when every customer seems to not have their money ready? Alright, please explain to me how this is my fault. When the customer doesn't have their money ready at the window, wouldn't you sort of assume that maybe this isn't a problem? Also, when they install these chips reader, they installed the chip reader into our McDonald's. Yes, okay, the chip reader. Those are another things I have problems with. The chip reader is like, you put the card inside and it scans it. Okay, that's fine and all, but it takes like 15 seconds for it to scan the card. Why? Why is that needed? Why did we revert to this? Can we just go to swiping the cards maybe? I mean, swiping the cards would be much faster and more efficient than the chip readers. And for God's sakes, when the customer doesn't have their money ready at the window, that's probably the worst thing you could have at McDonald's because it's your fault. When they're not ready, it is your fault. It's not the customer's fault, it is your fault. You can't get away from this either. It's just frustrating. How in the world is that anything to do with what I have going on? Not only that, but they always have you multitask in back window. So unless you're bad at multitasking, you're gonna get yelled at here and there. Okay, so let's get into the grill members now. Since we've been talking a lot about back cash, let's talk about the grill. Now, for starters, most of the equipment they buy in kitchen is like the crappiest, most ineffective, inefficient crap you could ever use. Now, when the grill breaks, you have 4 central heating grills. The 4 central heating size grills are usually nice and spacious. You're allowed to put like 8 patties on there, but maybe if you wanted to, you could probably even put 12 on there. Now, you have lots of customers that come through the drive-thru usually on a regular basis, like lunch or maybe even dinner. But what you don't understand is that when they come through, most of the time they order lots of food, because most of the time people that bitch about the prices like to order tons of the dollar menu items like the cheeseburgers and stuff. So you get those orders where there's like 10 cheeseburgers, 10 McDoubles, 10 McChickens, that kind of thing, right? Why in the holy hell is that our fault when we're going too slow? When you don't have the food ready yet for other orders or the big order, it's not us. How in the world would you even bother to say, go faster? We can't go faster. The fastest I can go is probably human speed, not light speed. Okay, you see how all these pieces connect. The customer will complain if it's not fast enough. The management complains it's not fast enough. But the customers are usually the ones that start this problem by either taking too long to pull out their cash or ordering way too much food. Now, I can understand once in a while that this happens. You're going to get once in a while orders where there's going to be lots and lots of food on it. But for crying out loud, it's just not fair, okay? You can't expect me to make 10 sandwiches at a time. Oh yeah, here's another thing. You're only allowed to make 2 sandwiches at a time. That's what I get yelled at about often. I try to be productive and make more than 2 sandwiches, but no. Big boss lady come over say, no, you can't do that. 2 sandwiches make you go really slow. Okay, so explain to me how making more than 2 sandwiches is going to make it go any slower than it's already going. If we have a ton of food on the screen, making as many as possible would be our best bet. I don't understand where they get these ideas from. Either way, and it's even worse when the grills break down. Yeah, this happens all the time. The grills or the fryers will stop working once in a while, and you have this problem. Yeah, when the grill or fryer breaks down, you're pretty much screwed, because there's no winning when that happens. The food comes up raw, or even then, you just can't use it, period. So you have to throw out all the raw food, and you have to remake it, but you only have 3 grills left, or maybe even 2 fryers. And you can't go that fast. So please explain to me why in the world this is needed. Okay, the grills and fryers are one thing, but I seriously can't fathom this much here. When we get yelled at, it's usually for stuff like it's usually for stupid stuff that's out of our control. I understand, but now we get to the topic where we get in trouble because the managers forget to write down a promo. You're standing on front counter and a customer comes up with a coupon. The coupon has like a buy one, get one. Okay, that's fair and all. So we get the buy one, get one on the coupons. Okay, so you put in her coupon, but they forgot their wallet at home, so they can't pay for their food. So the customer leaves and you have to go ahead and promo something. Now, most of the time when you gotta go and promo something off the screen that you can't serve to a customer anymore, it's usually about like you have to put in like a syrup cup or something with a lower price so your drawer doesn't end up being too short. But what happens when the manager who promos it doesn't write it down? Well, you guessed it, the employee gets yelled at. We apparently are accused of stealing, or God forbid, we're short on money, and they make us pay for it out of our own pockets. Yep, I'm absolutely serious with this. I have had to pay out so much money of my own because somehow it's my fault when the drawer is short. But yet, you heard me earlier, apparently we get people stealing money out of the drawer, or the manager forgets to write down the promo, but unfortunately, that's not how it works. If your name is signed into the register that's being used, and at the end of the day that register is short, guess whose fault it is? Yours, not the manager's, or even the person putting the order in. It's your fault. You can't get away from this problem. And for example, customers who come in with promos and on the app, it's even worse there, because half the time the app doesn't even work. They come in trying to scan their coupon, and the app brings up a completely different coupon or doesn't load the coupon at all, and they get mad at you for it. even the managers agree that this one is a little stupid. For example, why does the app not work? The app is like a McDonald's corporation item. You can't possibly expect me to believe that, for example, it's so stupid. How is the app not working? This is a multi-billion-dollar company, and you're telling me that they can't even get the app to work right? I get it, they're all burger flippers, and so am I. But even then, I went to school for IT, and I guarantee you I can figure this out if you just get the right person involved, and that's what you should do. Why does the app malfunction so much? Okay, so let's see what else we could talk about here. If you haven't noticed already, I'm not doing this off of script. I'm doing this off my general thoughts and opinions. Now, I probably should have written down a script, but I'm a little pressed for time since I have lots to do. Either way, let's get started with wearing your jackets. Now, McDonald's has a dress code. Yes, okay. So, there's a dress code. And you have to wear certain things or abide by certain rules. And I have their handbook, so I kind of know what's going on. Plus, I've worked here for a while. But there's something I can't understand. Certain people are allowed to get away with certain dress codes. Like, for example, the managers are allowed to not wear a hat, and they have to wear, like, this fancy outfit. That's fine. They're managers. You have to be able to tell that they're managers, too. But there's a problem here. You have to wear an apron to work. Yes, the apron to work. Now, this is a big issue for me. The apron, you have to wear it, but it's so big and clunky. It gets caught on stuff a lot. It literally will get caught on everything. You'll be working and the apron will end up pulling you to the floor because you get it caught on something. Okay, that's fine and dandy and all, but okay, the apron, I'm wearing this apron for work, and I have this big problem with, my apron ends up pulling me away from things all the time. Now, I carry lots of stuff in my apron. Napkins, a laser pointer, sunglasses, because the sun in the drive-thru window blinds your eyes and you can't see a thing. Anyways, you have these problems with the apron. It'll get caught on things, but you'll end up having to... think about it for just a few seconds. The bandana, I'm sorry, not the bandana, what am I talking about? The apron, it might as well be a bandana because most people wear it like one anyways. They usually wear it around their neck and they have it folded so it ends up looking like a bandana. Regardless of that, you end up getting a apron caught on something, you're screwed. I often get it caught on the chocolate chip scoop or even the front counter bag holder. It is absolutely ridiculous. I end up getting pulled to the floor more times than I can count, and my apron is ripping. I can't really do anything about that, but there is something I can do. There's a thing you have to do called shaving. McDonald's obviously doesn't like you having a full-grown beard, or even a mustache for that matter. But, okay, so here's my number one problem. I get yelled at on a regular basis by Arkansas, the manager I mentioned earlier, all the time for having a small amount of stubble, but yet they hired somebody just recently who has a full-grown beard and they don't say a word. So let me get this straight. Other people can do it, but I can't. I'm telling you, McDonald's is full of favoritism, and if you're not one of their star employees, they're gonna dislike you a lot. And the only problem is they don't like people who are intelligent. If you have a IQ over 100, you're not gonna be their favorite. I'm sorry to say this, but it's the truth. It really is. Because it seems like every McDonald's I've worked at, it's the stupid ones that are liked more than the ones like me who know how to run all the things in the store and even run the manager's job too. Now, even so, I come to work sometimes wearing my jacket, but it's not a McDonald's brand jacket, so that's a problem, and you're not allowed to wear that. Take that jacket off and go put it in that break room. But yet, here's another thing. It is freezing outside. Okay, you realize it's January, right? January isn't even the only month that's like this. It could be raining too in the middle of the summer, and you're not allowed to wear that jacket. The jackets are forbidden unless it is a McDonald's brand jacket. and it has to be black. You can't wear a McDonald's jacket unless it's black, and you can't wear a jacket if it's not black. But for some reason, I'm not allowed to wear any of those jackets. I was yelled at for wearing my jacket on break. Yes, you heard me correctly. I was on break, and I am not allowed to wear my jacket. So, can you please explain to me how in the world I'm supposed to know this? I got the employee handbook, and it says in the handbook you're allowed to wear a black jacket. I don't remember it saying I have to wear a McDonald's jacket. Yeah. No, the McDonald's jacket is not worth your time either. It's $10, and in the weather we have here, it'll probably end up freezing you pretty much in the first few seconds. Can somebody please explain to me why in the world this is a thing? Jackets should be allowed to be worn regardless. As long as you can see your McDonald's t-shirt and apron, who cares? Do they know you were working at McDonald's? I don't understand the problem here. Just not wearing my jacket? And if you put the in back cache, I've got the window on constantly. Or I've got the window open constantly, so it's constantly freezing. So please tell me that too. Can I not have the jacket on in the window? Yeah, they actually do let you wear the jacket in the window. Thank God, because otherwise you're gonna end up not being able to work right. It's freezing in there, and if I can't move my hands, how in the world am I supposed to do my job? Now, let's get on to another topic. The managers they promote. Most of the time, there's some cool guys. I know another guy. There's a lot of cool managers they have. I remember this one in Florida. Her name was Olivia. Now, she was really, really cool. And she was probably the youngest McDonald's manager I've ever seen in my life, which is probably why she was so cool. Then we have another manager who I'm just going to have to give him a different name, Bob. He's this real cool guy who likes to talk a lot of crap, and he likes to get along with you. He was promoted recently too, and I don't understand. They promoted him pretty easily, and I thought he was one of their favorites too. So, regardless of that, they always seem to promote the stupidest people. We actually promoted another guy named, let's call him Zeke. They promoted this guy named Zeke, and he is the biggest tool I've ever met in my life. I known him one day, and he seems to have an attitude wherever he goes, like he's got a stick up his ass or something. Why can't he just relax a little bit? The other day, I had to go and finance a car, and he decided to not let me do that. My mom came in there and told him off, and he called her crazy while she wasn't looking. I can't even imagine what the other managers call other customers when they're not there. For example, he said my thing was he said my thing was an excuse to leave. Okay, so I'm sorry. My thing is an excuse to leave because it's an actual thing I have to do. I'm sorry if I didn't get scheduled late enough, but for example, you shouldn't really be saying that because I might have things going on. And the fact that my mom has cancer as of this video, that's not fair, especially calling her crazy. That's a little bit of a dick move if you ask me. So my mom went to complain to corporate, and sure enough, they didn't do a thing about it because they don't care about you or your crap. They just care about you having their business. So they get away with it. I mean, can you blame my mom for going to corporate for him calling her crazy? I would have too. Even if I worked there and she is my mother, I don't blame her for her actions. I would have went to corporate if a McDonald's manager called me that too. Literally in front of my own kid. Regardless, we have other managers that they promote, like, for example, this MJ lady who ended up stealing the job of my friend Alicia. Why would you promote her? She was a bossy know-it-all, and she did her job really well, but sure enough, she ended up having lots of problems. She would end up having a big ego, but there were some fun times, like when we would pretend to be like a married couple or something. Her and the other manager, Boaz, would be like the married couple or some stupid thing like that, and I'd be the son somehow. I don't know how it started, it just did. Now, let's get to random other topics. We're almost done here, but I feel I've talked about a lot. So, let's talk about general stupidity. Not managers, not customers, but just stupid things in general that could be better but aren't. Let's talk about the schedules. Now, McDonald's employees are usually scheduled from the times the customers come in the most. So, for example, you're going to get scheduled during a busy time more than a later time. Now, this is okay, but here's the problem. Most of the time, your schedule is involving, they don't schedule people out balanced. They schedule people out through the fact that there's more business in one time than another time. Now, that's not a good thing, and for many reasons. For one, okay, here's the biggest problem with this. When you schedule somebody at 6, okay, so for example, I usually get scheduled at about 6 a.m., and a bunch of other people do too, because that's around their busiest time. Everybody likes to get up early for McDonald's. Who doesn't, right? Get up at 5 a.m., stand outside the door, and wait for them front doors to open. And yes, I am talking about certain customers because this does happen. There are people who wake up and stand outside the door waiting for the door to open. Why? Isn't there anything better you could be doing? Like, I don't know, sleeping? I sure as heck would be sleeping if I didn't have to be here at 6 in the morning. But anyways, the schedule starts, for example, I get scheduled at 6 a.m. Now, a bunch of other people do too, because that's when the busiest time is, and you'd expect more people to come in throughout the day, right? Well, that's true, but only a few people. So that way, when everybody gets off at 6 in the afternoon, they don't let you leave. I usually get off of work at around 2 p.m. And when I do, I don't usually get to leave on time because there's nobody else coming into work, because they scheduled everybody during the day. So now I gotta wait about an hour or two for another person to show up. Why? Why do they do it like this? Can't you schedule somebody at 2 o'clock? You're telling me that isn't enough time to warrant maybe just a few more people? I mean, 2 o'clock is also their busy time, and I've already been here for 8 hours. Plus, I woke up early. I shouldn't have to stand here for an extra 2 hours waiting for another employee to show up, because everybody was scheduled during the day. It's like an all-out battle to get out during the day at 2 o'clock when everybody is off, because we're all tired and we all want to go home. And sometimes you just gotta take one for the team. And that shouldn't be how it is. You should have a set number of people in each scheduling quadrant, and that should be how it is. I don't understand why people can't wrap this around their thick heads that that's usually the better way of doing this. But that's just how it works in Mickey D's. Now, let's get to another topic I'd like to talk about. If your employee doesn't show up on time, that's one thing. I understand being late happens and we have to do stuff, but you need to call about it. Most of the time, I get late by like 4 minutes, and that's a huge problem. But other people are late by like a half hour and nothing happens. Now, sometimes something does happen, and they do get a write-up. It's like I said, it's always favoritism at these places. I sometimes pull out my phone at work, and sometimes it's only to check the time limit, because the McDonald's clocks are military time, and I prefer looking at a normal clock despite knowing how to tell military time. And they yell at you for pulling out your phone, obviously. But telling you you're an untrustworthy person because you pulled out your phone and then immediately walk past somebody else who's using their phone and say absolutely nothing, that's a little sad. I also have another problem with favoritism, because when you're talking to a coworker, they'll yell at you for talking and not the other person, even though you didn't start the conversation. It's all really, really annoying stuff, basically. And here's another problem. The crappy free meals they provide you. McDonald's gives their employees free meals for working for the day, so you can eat something without feeling like you have to spend a ton of money. But here's the problem. Their free meals are really stupid. You only get certain items as free meals, and most of them are the dollar menu items. So pretty much you have to work an entire 8-hour day, possibly 10 to 11 hours, with nothing but a double cheeseburger in your stomach, and maybe a small fry and a drink. That is not okay. If I'm working a 10-hour day, I'd like a little more food for maybe my free meal, and I don't get a 10-minute break, so I only get the 1 30-minute of lunchtime. So some places don't even give you a 10-minute break. So here's another problem I have. Why can't we get more filling food? If I have to eat a sausage McMuffin and I get my break about 2 hours into my shift, don't you see where this is going? How am I supposed to work off of three small-ass items the entire day? Somebody please explain to me how this is fair. I know it's to save money, but do you realize that we're dying and you working us to death, and we have all these problems to have go on at once? We don't have time for this. There's just no reason for the meals to be so crappy. Some people barely order anything because it's just not worth it. Me, on the other hand, I usually just order something like big that I can eat and pay for it with the half off, because that's your best bet. You're better off just buying the half off. The free meal's not even worth it. You're telling me I'm supposed to work a whole day with just a sausage muffin and a hash brown, and they don't really give you enough time to go to some other store and get food either. So it's almost not worth it. Now, the other thing about the meals, the Happy Meals. Oh my god, I hate these things so much. If you ever ordered a Happy Meal from McDonald's, you know what it consists of. You get the cookies. Oh wait, they don't serve those anymore. You get the small French fries. Oh wait a second, now they're kids fries and they only have like 6 French fries in them. You get the drink. Oh, I'm sorry. It comes with like a smaller drink now. Okay. That's okay. That's all right. That's all fine and dandy, but every other customer orders like 6 Happy Meals. I can't. The Happy Meals piss me off. They're so complicated to assemble, and those boxes are stupid. Like, half the time the boxes don't even stay closed, and if you pack way too much into it, it's not gonna work. And sometimes the McDonald's toy they currently have at the moment makes it even worse. The toy is so big and bulky that half the time it doesn't even fit into the small Happy Meal box to begin with. So you're half the time gonna have a lopsided lump looking box, and the customer will complain about it. But again, that is not our fault. It's the toy. Stop ordering so much food in the Happy Meal. The Happy Meal has a certain set of things that come with it, and that's okay. That is to be expected, but I just can't understand people and their weirdness with this. And they're ordering so many Happy Meals. And the worst part about it is it always seems to be during school too. People will come through their drive-thru on school days with their kids in the back seat and order a Happy Meal. First of all, isn't your kid supposed to be in school? Now you might argue the fact that maybe they don't go to school and they're homeschooled. That I'd understand. But I'm not even kidding when I say this. It's every other car that orders a Happy Meal. You have to take my word on this, but there's literally never a moment where I don't see a Happy Meal on screen, ever. If there's only one order on screen, it's gonna have a Happy Meal in it. It's just how it works. And there's so many Happy Meals, and they just fill the entire screen up pretty fast too. So most of the time, you end up not noticing it, or you miss something in the Happy Meal box, because it's ridiculous. You have this whole order going on, and everything is all weirdly positioned from one another. I don't understand this. I can't wrap my head around this, that the fact that there is so much disorganization when it comes to this. Okay, so now we've talked about the Happy Meals. Let's talk about the equipment. Oh my god, this shit breaks way too easily. I can't describe this without like sounding like an idiot. And I know I'm stuttering a lot already in this video, but like I said, I'm not doing a script. I'm speaking generally from my heart, which is okay. You'll just have to get through the ums and ifs once in a while. But the equipment, holy crap. The grills break so easily in this place. It's not even funny. Half the time you'll be cooking up sandwiches and all of a sudden it'll say grill failure on the monitor in there. And it'll be, oh, well, that's the end of that. What in the world? I don't understand this. Why does the grill break so easily? And here's another thing. Everything in McDonald's runs on CO2. CO2, carbon dioxide, it's what makes the drinks happen. And I came in the work and it was broken once. That's ridiculous. You know CO2 is poisonous to people, right? I don't understand whose idea this is, but make sure the CO2 works, please. I'd rather not go to work, walk into the door, and then immediately drop dead because I'm inhaling poisonous fumes. That isn't cool, okay? I don't really and they don't let you wear a mask, so because it's not in their dress code. So yeah, just be careful when you walk into work one day. You never know what's gonna happen, and you end up having this problem more than once. The French fry machine is also like this. Half the time you put it, there's so many customers that you put so much French fries into there, and it says low temperature, so the fries end up cooking undercooked. That is not our fault, okay? If we didn't have to make like 10 large fries for one order, we wouldn't be having this problem. Now, you can drop 8 baskets of fries at once, and you can fill those shits pretty high. That's pretty good, right? Well, yeah, no. The grills and fryers can only handle so much food at once before they start to overwork themselves. Even the grills and fryers get overworked, and that's a problem too. Okay, this is the biggest problem here. But the grills and fryers will say low temperature after you put a bunch of food into it, and you end up losing the timer. You can't figure out when to pull it without the timer, so your odds are you're either going to have it pulled overcooked or undercooked. Their best bet, and you need to do this. You need to have excellent skills with this. You need to make sure you know what you're looking at. For example, if you pull out some McNuggets, they need to look crispy, tan, brown, kind of like a kangaroo's fur. They need to look like that. But, for example, you can't possibly have them pulled when they look black like the Dark Knight's anus, or even undercooked where they look as white as the freaking snow in Colorado. Okay, you have to look at it and make sure it's alright. But even then, sometimes you can't tell, and that's where the taste test comes in. Oh, but wait a minute, you're not allowed to taste test. That's a problem. I don't understand. Maybe the grills and fryers need to heat up more, or maybe the customers need to order less. That is ridiculous, and I don't understand if this is just a me problem or if it's everyone's problem, but you know what I'm talking about if you've worked at McDonald's before. Alright, now let's get to some of my favorite things. The containers for the food in the store are the stupidest things I've ever seen in my life. Okay? So, I'm going to show you a few videos real fast. Okay? And I want you to tell me your general thoughts down below. And I will tell you mine too. Are you ready? Here you go. Did you see that? Okay, so the pickles and the tomatoes, they don't open right. You can't... The pickles and tomatoes open so stupid. I don't understand the problem here, but this is ridiculous. And it's been like this for 2 years, at least as long as I've worked at McDonald's for. If you're going to put in a cut-in function, at the very least make it so that it cuts the right way. I mean, what stupid idiots think this is a good idea? I'm hoping this is factory packaged, and even then, somebody should still notice that you can't open these things without poking a damn hole into the middle of them. I have this problem on a regular basis since I sometimes prep lunch. And when you try to open the pickles or the tomatoes, it rips around the edges like in this video. And I'm not even kidding you. This is every package. Do they not understand that this isn't working? Maybe for, I don't know, if somebody has a pocket knife on them or something, or fingernails. But I sometimes chew my fingernails out of stress, but I carry a pocket knife around. I still have long enough nails to poke a hole through it. But at the very latest, you shouldn't be having this problem. I mean, somebody has to have noticed it like this by now. Seriously, I can't understand people with this. Like, having the equipment or the containers do that, it's really annoying. Okay, and not everybody's going to be old enough to carry a pocket knife, because in their rule book, you're not allowed to have a pocket knife unless you're at least 18. So, most of the time, you have this problem. You're just like, somebody somewhere is laughing about this as like a general joke, and it's stupid. I don't understand if it's intentional or if they just haven't noticed it yet. But either way, this is a problem. Now, this is another thing here. There is never anything stocked when you come in the morning. The nighttime crew always gets it off a lot easier than the regular crew, and I can't believe that. Half the time, the nighttime crew, they're usually there till about midnight, 1 a.m., and they're supposed to clean the store and stock when they leave. That is the general rule that I was taught anyways, because I've closed before. I know how it works. You're supposed to clean the store up. But usually, I'm the morning person, so when I arrive at 6 in the morning and I see my manager scrambling around because the nighttime crew didn't clean anything last night or stock anything, that's a problem. I shouldn't have to work 10 times harder because somebody else didn't do their job, and they're getting paid the same amount of money as me, so that obviously is going to frustrate me. I wish I can sure as hell not do anything before I leave work, but no, because there's 100 managers there when you leave by the end of the day, like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. You're gonna get caught eventually, and somebody's gonna tell you to do something. At nighttime, when there's only one manager, and it's usually like the most chill manager too in the store, you don't usually have to do anything there. So half the time, you end up having a manager, and they don't really stop you when you walk in there or leave. They all want to leave. It's like 2 in the morning. Sometimes the manager is there till about 4 in the morning doing manager work, and that's fine. But the coworkers don't have to deal with that crap, and most of the time the store's not clean. At least make them clean the store better or stock something. It makes us have an easier time. I thought that was the whole point of this anyways, is teamwork. But teamwork doesn't seem to be a factor here since, again, most of it's all about favoritism in the first place. Now, here's the last thing I'm going to talk about for this, and I think I talked about pretty much everything. Having other food in the car when you're ordering food. Now, this is something I've never understood, but some customers come through the drive-thru and they have other food in their car. Like, okay, that's fine and all, but why are you coming here if you have food already? I'm not even kidding when I say this. Sometimes there's like 2 people in the car, and one of them's eating 1 bag of food, and the other one probably wants McDonald's. That is okay. I am okay with that. But sometimes I see somebody come through the drive-thru by themselves, eating random food that they've never had before. And they'll leave the second window eating the food with the other food they have. Why? Why did you order 2 separate things of food, or bring in your own food from home and eat McDonald's with it? Sometimes you can argue that maybe they're bringing it to somebody else, and again, I have thought of this too, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the people who actually physically eat it when they're in the drive-thru with their other food. Why are you eating 2 things of food, okay? That I can't fathom either. Okay, that's a huge waste of money. My favorite thing is when they get mad at you because you're like the prices are too high, or the food is like weird or something. That is a problem. We don't control the prices. Managers usually do that. And again, I don't have a vendetta against the place. I just think it could be run a little better. Maybe there wouldn't be so much stupid stuff going on too. But I think that's pretty much the general topic I wanted to talk about. I apologize for blanking out in some parts or stuttering, because again, I didn't do this with a script, and you have to get your bearings when talking about a lot of things at once. You have to think for a second that what you're going to talk about next, or even what you have going on. Now, if I do make future rant videos, I probably will use a script just so I can avoid these types of things a little better in the future. But again, I'm a little pressed for time since I have a lot going on. If you didn't already hear some of the things I do in person on this video, well then, there you go. But remember, if you're going to shop at McDonald's or order food, be nice to the employees. They deal with a shit ton of issues and problems, and they don't need you doing anything worse to make it any worse for them. They already have stupid managers, stupid things going on, and sometimes you get a customer that's just really rude, and they probably have home stuff going on too that is out of their control, and it just they need a calm, peaceful atmosphere. And if you could be polite to them, that would be helpful to them and you, because it'll make both of their days better. I appreciate you for watching this rant video, and I will see you next time. Thanks for watching.